Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia here. Welcome to the Meta Murmurs. So, this is a newish shorter series that I want to do that covers basically the meta. I don't want to talk too much about the meta in the Overwatch League roundup videos because it makes them too long. It makes them quite long and much longer than I want them to be. They're roundups for a reason and they're not meant to be 20 minutes long. But this video will look over what we've seen in the first week of Stage 4. As you will know, we are now in Triple 2. We have had a massive meta shift, one of the biggest meta shifts in the history of the game, simply because of this enforced Triple 2 role lock, and it has changed the hero pool massively. I have got a bunch of stats in front of me, which tells me the change in pick rates of heroes in the Overwatch League for this week, and I can tell you it is not necessarily too surprising, but astonishing nonetheless. So, should we start off with our GOAT-centric heroes? Ana, she's kind of stayed how she was. Slight drop in Ana, about 1.2%, but I'd expect Ana to stay in the meta because she is the best high-level support there is. So I'm not surprised that she's staying around. Zen has seen a bit of a drop, but not too much. Again, Zen very powerful against tanks with his Discord orb at the high level, so I'm not surprised he's staying around. Let's take a look at Brigitte. Now, this is obviously the big question. Where does Brigitte fit in? And basically, she doesn't. Although, we have seen on enclosed maps like Busan Mecha Base, we have seen Brigitte used as a support. And it's simply because you can get value out of the Brigitte because she's in an enclosed space, but when you're playing on maps like Junkertown, you just don't play a Brigitte because she's useless. She has seen a 50% drop in her pick rate. It's not surprising, and again, we don't have new Brigitte in the Overwatch League yet. We only have the 222 roll-lock. We don't have the balance changes that are on the PTR. They will go live with the playoffs and the play-ins, along with Sigma. So, that could change things up for Brigitte, but as it stands, she is picked much less. She has the biggest drop in her pick rate, and it's no surprise. So let's look at other GOATS heroes. Azaria, she has seen a 35%, well, nearly 35% drop in her pick rate. That's not a surprise, because Reinhardt has also seen about a 30% drop in his pick rate as well. We're not surprised here. Zarya Reinhardt is not the tank duo you want to go with if you're running DPS at the moment. Unless you're running some specialized comp. If you're going to go DPS, and in Triple 2 you're obviously going to go DPS, you're going to go Orisa, or you're going to go Winston for your main tank. But that is a discussion for in a minute. Sombra is one I wanted to get. Sombra and Lucio are the next two I want to look at. Lucio has seen a big drop in his pick rate. He's seen about a 33% drop in his pick rate. That's not surprising, because at the moment we are not seeing highly mobile comps. So you're not going to want a Lucio in an Orisa comp. And at the moment, Lucio is not fitting in with a Dive Winston Diva or Wrecking Ball Diva comp, because you'd rather have the Zen Ana. So Lucio has been hit hard by the death of GOATS, but he's still got about a 30% pick rate, but he had the highest pick rate out of everyone during GOATS. So Lucio has taken quite a big hit, but not like a hero dead pick sort of thing. Not a hero dead. Sombra is an interesting one. We have seen a fair bit of Sombra in week 1, but nowhere near as much as we were seeing. Remember, we were transitioning before Triple 2 came in. We were transitioning to a 3-2-1, which involved the Sombra, and she saw in the last week of Stage 4 a 56.3% pick rate. That has decreased by 25%. She's now down to about 30.4%. And I'm not totally surprised. Sombra can still be utilized in a lot of comps. Sombra is one of those heroes that we will talk about in a minute. There's a selection of heroes on this list that we're going to talk about that have come into a category that I was slightly worried about going a few months back. Even perhaps like 6-7 months, I was worried about these heroes coming into the meta, but we will have a discussion about them in a minute. So, who have benefited from Triple 2? Well, oddly enough, not Winston. We are definitely not seeing dive. Winston currently has a just under 15% pick rate from this week. That's down 10%, which is actually quite interesting. What we are seeing dominate, obviously, is Orisa. Orisa is the most picked hero from last week. She has had her pick rate increase 39.4%. She has a pick rate of 65.5. Yeah. That we saw this coming, and she's one of those heroes that fits into that category that I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, it's looking nasty right now, but what interests me more is the off-tank role. So, let's talk about D.Va. D.Va, she was integral to GOATS, but not essential. She had a drop in pick rate when Sombra came through, because you'd normally drop the D.Va for the Sombra. And she's actually had an increase in pick rate, which is very interesting, mainly because D.Va is the go-to off-tank for tons of players in the Overwatch League. Like, D.Va has been the mainstay in the off-tank role for metas and metas and metas. And that's not really going to change while our defense matrix stays as it is. I mean, unless we were to see something crazy from Blizzard where they were to alter D.Va's defense matrix back to what it used to be, when it used to be a cooldown instead of a charge meter, we won't see D.Va change, I don't think, unless she really heavily gets nerfed into the ground. So she's still seeing a decent pick rate. But obviously, the off-tank that's increased in pick rate is Roadhog. He's seen a 25% increase. He's not quite picked as much as D.Va, which surprises me somewhat, but I know why in some respects. And that's because of this other hero. The second biggest increase in pick rate. It's Mei. I am sadly unsurprised about this, and this is a hero that falls into that category again that we will talk about in a minute. Mei has a 40% pick rate right now. That is up 36%. Mei is powerful. Very powerful. And you're running her... There's kind of like two DPS lineups right now, which you can morph between each other. So we're seeing a lot of double sniper. There's been a big pick rate increase with Widowmaker and Hanzo. We're not surprised about that. We are not surprised whatsoever. It's kind of the meta we saw before GOATS came in, and Hanzo and Widow... Widow's always very strong in the right hands, and obviously the pros are the right hands. Hanzo, he can just log anyone from any distance, so... just Hanzo things, you know, and Storm Arrows are still dealing an incredible amount of damage, and the barrier break from Hanzo and a Roadhog, Orisa's barrier ain't going to stand up there for long. So that's not surprising. We're seeing an uptake in double sniper. But what some people have been running, you noticed on Lijiang and a lot of close quarters, is Mei Reaper. Reaper has seen a 12% increase in his pick rate. So Reaper is actually being picked more than Tracer and Genji, and McCree, who all three of them have also seen increases in their pick rate, but not quite as much as Reaper. And again, he's another one of those heroes that will fall into the category we'll talk about in a minute. But this is a comp that, what do you call it? Frozen pulled pork, I've heard mentioned. But you don't have to play the Reaper, and that's why his pick rate is not where Mei's is, because Reaper is still vulnerable in a lot of situations. So sometimes we're seeing Mei Widow, a lot of the time we're seeing Mei Hanzo, and it's making a big difference. And another hero that goes well obviously with Orisa, D.Va or Roadhog, and Mei is Baptiste. Baptiste has seen a 15% increase in his pick rate. Last stage, it was mainly San Francisco Shock that were utilising the Baptiste in really good ways. Now we are seeing a lot of teams pick up the Baptiste, and he's mainly on that. He's on that main support role normally, and his immortality field is just so good that it's kind of being used either to negate ults or when the Orisa barrier is depleted and not available to be put up again. Baptiste comes in really handy there, especially when you've got a Roadhog. Roadhog, obviously, unlike D.Va, hasn't got a DM. He's got no way to negate damage. He's just going to be an ult battery if he hasn't got a shield in front of him. So this is where the Baptiste comes in really handy. Baptiste is currently the 4th most picked support behind Lucio, only just behind Lucio. Mercy, because obviously if you see double sniper, you're going to see a lot of Mercy. And Ana. Ana is the second highest picked support. Second highest pick hero overall. Ana is picked more than D.Va, Roadhog, Mei, anyone, to be quite honest, apart from Orisa. I'm not surprised about that. Ana's just crazy with anti-heal and all that. Another hero that has seen a big shift down in pick rate, and this is not good news for Shanghai, is Pharah. This is mainly because double sniper is not friendly to Pharah. Pharah has plummeted in pick rate, minus 28.5%. It's quite crazy. I wasn't expecting that much of a dip from Pharah. But, again, it's not too surprising when you see the meta developing like it is. Okay, so let's talk about this clump of heroes. This clump of heroes involves Orisa, Mei, Reaper, and I believe there was another one that I wanted to mention. No, I think that's the main three anyway. And perhaps Hanzo you could include in this, but Orisa, Mei, and Reaper. Why do I want to talk about these three? And that is because they have seen steady buffs throughout the last year or so. Constant buffing to these heroes. Orisa, she can reload while she puts a barrier down. She had this increase in her fire rate, I believe, at one point. And her barrier was enlarged as well. And it's all led to this Orisa meta. Now that we're out of goats where Orisa was totally useless, pros have suddenly realised, and I've seen this a lot on lower ladder as well, before goat, when goats was going on, because no one was playing goats on ladder anyway, that Orisa was becoming dominant on ladder simply because she has just been buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed, and suddenly, now she's meta because she's been buffed so much. But also, you can say the same for Mei. Mei has really been buffed, especially the fact that her primary fire, the freeze spray, has now been given the buff that it actually freezes multiple targets. It's an AoE. That, I think, maybe need to be reversed. That's where Mei is at. She's incredibly powerful in the right hands, and if you can hit the icicles, then you're gonna just decapitate people. So Reaper has also had these buffs, like his teleport doesn't take as long, so he's not as vulnerable. His lifesteal was increased, so he's got more survivability, and that's the reason I think we're seeing a bit of uptake in Reaper, because he can just survive that little bit more that allows you to get value out of him, especially at the high level. You go down to the lower levels of ranked, and you see Reaper an incredible amount, because he dominates down there. Mei does as well, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with him, and her. Orisa, yeah, you see Orisa everywhere. You just see Orisa throughout Overwatch right now. Doesn't matter whether you're bronze, or whether you're flipping top 500, or whether you're an Overwatch League player, you are going to see Orisa, and that's as simple as that. And most people will go, oh my god, Resident Sleeper, we've got to play Orisa to stand there and impress Mouse 1 all the time. Well, okay, yeah, I kind of find Orisa interesting. I'm a main tank though, so that's just me. But I've always found Orisa quite powerful, simply because of Fortify. Fortify, in my opinion, is one of the best abilities, base abilities, out of all of the tanks. Simply because it makes you resistant to CC. And in a meta where Mei is dominating, and I can tell you out of my ranked games last night, which was 7, I believe 5 of them had a Mei in them, against a Mei, against a Brigitte, against a Doomfist, against McCree, anything that's going to CC you, Orisa is going to be able to walk out of it because she's got Fortify. If Mei puts her ultimate down, she's just going to walk straight out of it and say, nah dude, I don't want none of that. So, again, that makes Orisa really powerful in this meta where we're seeing CC from Mei. So, Orisa will get changed quite soon, I would have thought. She's got a nerf on the PTR, but I don't think it'll make too much difference. It's her barrier cooldown. It's been increased by 1 second, but I don't think that'll make too much difference to her in the meta right now. Orisa will see some changes in the near future because her pick rate is very high compared to any other main tank. You know, her nearest main tank rival, Winston, is on a 14% pick rate compared to Orisa's 65% pick rate. This is Overwatch League only, by the way. It's not ranked. So that's where it's at in terms of main tank. If you're playing anything but Orisa, you've got to be playing something pretty specialised, or you're going to be questioned. Just like London Spitfire on Control against the Toronto Defiant. They played Dive into Toronto Defiant's Roadhog Orisa. Big surprise that didn't work. So they ended up losing Control, and I was tearing my hair out saying, why do you not just go Orisa Hog? Because, to be quite honest, Gesture and Fury are a good Orisa Hog combo. One of the best. So I just don't know why they didn't change. It's just London Spitfire Control things, but don't get me onto that. So, the last thing we'll look at is the off-tank. Now, why are we seeing an uptake in D.Va if we're seeing a massive uptake in Orisa? Why are we not seeing Roadhog dominate? And the reason is because of Mei. Now, when you play Orisa, if you don't play a Mei, you're probably going to play a Roadhog. So you're going to look for the Halt Hook combo, right? So the enemy team will probably look at you and then say, right, if they're not playing a Mei, this enemy team, they will probably play a D.Va. And D.Va's role will be to eat the Halt, so that no one can be hooked in and picked off, because if one person gets hooked in and killed, that's the fight right there at that level. So that is why D.Va is actually seeing quite a bit of playtime. But, you may ask, so what do the Orisa Roadhog combo do to try and prevent picks? Well, they play the Mei. Do you know why? Because Mei is very tanky. And the one thing she can do, you see the Hulk come in, Mei puts her wall up in front of the team, and then it stops the hook from coming in. So that is the other way to deal with it if you don't have a D.Va. So, Mei and D.Va, they kind of have the same job. So, and I've seen this with Spitfire. If Spitfire play the Mei, it's generally Prophet playing the Spitfire, playing the Mei, then they will play Fury on the Roadhog. If they don't play Prophet on the Mei, and they go double Sniper or something, they will put Fury on the D.Va. And that's just slight tweaks in the same comp that make a massive difference. It's always been a thing that Mei disrupts the Halt Hook combo. But that's why we're seeing an uptake in D.Va. Because obviously, as ever, her defense matrix is very, very strong. And it can shut down the Halt Hook from the other team. Unless you've got a Mei, when you might play a Roadhog to try and get your own Halt Hook. It's all mind games in the Overwatch League. That's just generally how it goes. But these have been the Meta Murmurs. Yes, we're seeing a lot of double sniper, but we are seeing Mei an incredible amount. Which, yeah. I just want Mei to get nerfed. But that's my opinion, because I don't like the hero. If you like the hero, then good for you. Orisa is completely dominant. I would expect the next round of buffs and nerfs after 222 goes live on live servers to probably contain nerfs to Orisa and Mei. Maybe Anna. Possibly. Because Anna's got quite a high pick rate right now. But I will leave it here. So, we've discussed the meta. I will move on to talking about other stuff in the next videos. Obviously the Overwatch League Roundup preview for next week will come out pretty bloody soon. Also, I want to have a look at the announcements regarding the playoffs. But, for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.